Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers, and joining me to talk about the NFL Draft prospect this year, 2024, Anthony Belton, offensive tackle coming out of North Carolina State, representing the Wolfpack. As always, my guy, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. How you doing, Vincent?
How you doing today, Mr. Logan Landers?
I am doing well, sir. Excited to talk about this young man coming out of the Wolfpack there at NC State. But before we get into him, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. As always, as we tell y'all, it is draft season. NFL is over, college football's been over, and we are going heavy into talking about some draft prospects. And Anthony Belton is next up on our list. But if you have a suggestion, if you want us to talk about a certain player from a certain team, put it in the comments, and that will fast track it into our inbox and onto your screen each and every single week. As I mentioned, also go check out our podcast. Thanks to our fine friends at the Believe Podcast Network for helping us out and helping us put audio versions up of all of our shows. Anthony Belton, a very impressive young man, very talented young man. And let's talk about him. Coming in at 6'6", 336 pounds, and was doing some work out there with NC State, represent the Wolfpack out there, and very talented this young man is. I think that coming into college, he was a 3-star recruit by ESPN, also by 24/7 Sports. And Vincent, as we mentioned before, he went to Florida State University High School, which,
Yes,
like
sir.
you've mentioned, on the campus, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure what it was, the Seminoles just they didn't get this young man. Belton opted to go to NC State, and he made a heck of a career for himself. So let's talk about what he did, what we like about him. In this past year, 2023, he saw action in 12 games, and he was doing some good work out there, Vincent. A very, very physical player. I mean, this guy, as you mentioned, he's 336, 6'6". It's hard to get by him. He is an absolute monster. Plays at the left tackle position is where he primarily is at. So we know that's a big money position in the NFL. You got to be able to get some work out there on the tackle positions. If I had to give him a word to describe him, Vince, I would say ferocious. Because you watch him, man, and he just
Yes, sir.
he just attacks that guy in the defense. He makes sure you ain't going nowhere and you are staying in your place. And when I say that, you see him jump out of his stance, not literally, but I mean, you see that just full on 100% effort getting to the defensive player, getting to the guy on the defensive end, defensive tackle, whichever it may be. He's got that good power and nastiness in the run game, able to create some holes there as well, wins at the point of attack. It just kind of pushes you out of the way. And whenever you got guys coming in on him, guys who are rushing from the outside, he's able to move his feet a good bit. He's able to work around them and stop them dead in their tracks. He's a good prospect. I think he's really solid in zone blocking. I think if you have him in that type of scheme, he's a guy who is very versatile as well. He can help out on the pass game as well. And as I mentioned, he's got light feet for a guy his size. Mostly you think of those guys and they're just kind of lumbering around and they can't move anywhere. But with Anthony Belton, he's got some good lateral quickness. He's got those long arms to help get those pass rushers out of the way and send them just flying off to the sidelines. That's what I like about this young man, Vincent. He's tenacious. He's got that mean streak to him. And overall, I think that Anthony Belton, he had, coming into, NC State, who in the last couple of years has produced some pretty solid prospects on the offensive line. He had a lot of hype around him. He's got the nickname Escalade also, Vincent. Can't forget that. He's the Escalade out there. And, I think that fits it pretty well. He did a great job at NC State. I can't wait to see who this young man's going to head in the NFL draft. What's your thoughts on Anthony Escalade Belton?
When I think about Mr. Belton and Mr. Logan Landers, when we see Bobby Butler again, man, I'm going to ask him, how did he get out of Florida State University when he went to the high school on campus? That don't supposed to happen, does it?
No, it ain't.
In some way, somehow, you keep that gentleman as a very, very top recruit in your football program. That's what really is blowing my mind when I looked him up the other day. Mr. Belton, North Carolina State. There ain't been too many great offensive linemen that came out of school, but Glenn Sasser and Jim Richard were good players at the next level. But I'm going to tell you what I'm impressed about before I get into his skill set. In 2022, he played 582 snaps. He allowed only 2 quarterback hits, but he allowed 3 sacks. Then he improved in 2023. Listen to this real closely, Logan. Played in 12 games, played in 811 snaps, no quarterback hits, and only 2 sacks. So within that time, he really improved from 2022 to 2023. But as you just mentioned, guy's nasty, like Janet Jackson, nasty. He wins at the point of attack because he's a mean guy. And most of all, you know, when you want an offensive tackle, and Logan, you said he was mean, you want to tackle with anybody that's playing on the line of scrimmage. He can be very physical. He can win in a phone booth.
Yes, sir.
What I mean by that, you can put him in against anybody in the phone booth, and Mr. Belton is going to come out a winner. And then when you think about all the offensive tackles, I like his size, man. He puts me in the mind of a gentleman that's a Hall of Famer. Played with the Oakland Raiders by way of the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to let you tell him who I'm talking about because you're a Raiders fan. His initials are AS. Can you help me, Logan?
Yes, sir. You got Mr. Art Shell right there.
Okay. Don't he put you in the mind a little bit of Art Shell?
I can see it.
No then doubt. It reminds me of another gentleman that played in Jackson State that played at a high level. There was a Pro Bowl player with the Houston Oilers and Mr. Leon Gray. Then another gentleman, there was an outstanding player out there in California, yay! The city of Compton, the USC Trojans, Mr. Marvin Powell, that went on and played tackle for the New York Jets. This gentleman right here is a Pro Bowl player. And Mr. Bobby Butler, you need to be calling your alumni and saying we don't need to let other players like this get away and play at another school, especially in the same conference, man.
Well said, sir. Well said. My final words about Anthony Belton. Absolute monster there on the offensive line. And he did some good work at North Carolina State protecting the Wolfpack. And I think he's going to do a great job in the NFL. Your final words, Mr. Turner?
That gentleman is a football player, man, and he's going to be a very strong candidate to be a 9 to 10-year player in the National Football League if he stays healthy, Mr. Anthony Belton.
Yes, sir, and well said. And we guys want to hear from y'all in our comment section. Where do you think Anthony Belton will go? And how big of an impact will Mr. Escalade make in the National Football League? For Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Guys, as always, thanks for checking out the video. We'll talk to y'all again on another live.